Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 2 of Giro d'Italia 2022. Now, 9.2 kilometers long. It's going to be incredibly a technical course on today's stage 2 of the Giro. And the last part, the 1.3 kilometer finish to the line, is going to be uphill. Good cobblestones, but cobbles nonetheless. So it's going to be a great course. Personally, I always love these kind of courses. At 9.2 kilometers, they're not super long. There's not a whole lot of long, flat sections for these big time trial specialists like Tom Dumoulin to gain a bunch of time on smaller riders like the GC favorites here at Giro d'Italia. So when the racing comes on, it's going to be aggressive and it's going to be an incredibly exciting race. So if you want a stage to watch, yesterday was a sleeper through the beginning and then exciting the last 15 kilometers. Today you really have to start watching from the last 30, 35 riders to go. Now to start with, Leonard Kamna is the hot rider in the hot seat with a solid time of 8 seconds faster than the previous rider here. Now while he's in the hot seat, we're going to see an interview from Miguel Angel Lopez, and he's talking about on this course about being safe, taking it easy out there. You just can't ride 9.2 kilometers, not in a technical, almost a prologue here on stage 2. I mean, at 9.2 kilometers, it's pretty short. You got to be aggressive. You have to fly through these corners and you have to take big risk if you want to get a solid result and you want to stay up on the general classification here. Miguel Angel Lopez, after his interview, while I was sitting on the couch, I already knew his time on today's stage 2 was going to be horrendous. And Miguel Angel Lopez will cross the line 42 seconds down. So you know his interview when he's talking about being safe out here, just ridiculous. And his time shows at the finish of today's stage. That will take him far out of the general classification after stage 2 finishes. Now let's get back up to the riders who really want to do well here on stage 2 time trial of the Giro d'Italia, because we got some players and the action is thick because they're 1 minute intervals to all the riders, even the top 10. So it's kind of a little bit complicated for the commentators because it's difficult for them to show all the riders leaving the ramp. And then, of course, while riders are finishing, you got GC riders leaving the ramp. So it's an intense stage here for stage 2 at the Giro. And you got to be paying attention to a lot that's going on while you're sitting on the couch. It was difficult to even get up and grab a snack when these top 35 riders are coming to the line. Mateo Sobrero, the bike exchange rider, will come through the finish line 4 seconds faster than Leonard Kamna. And then just behind him, we're going to see Tobias Foss. And Tobias Foss, the Jumbo-Visma rider, he's flying. We're going to see him catch Ivan Sosa from Movistar. Now, this was a big surprise for me because I had Ivan Sosa as a possible GC contender here at the Giro because he just got done winning Asturias before the Giro started here. So he should have been on flying form, but Tobias Foss clearly is because he is flying past the Movistar leader. He'll cross the line just a few seconds behind Sobrero, the bike exchange rider's time, to slot in at second on the stage here for stage 2. Now, there's still big favorites left out there on the course. Tom Dumoulin's leaving the ramp. 1 minute behind Tom Dumoulin is going to be Simon Yates, the bike exchange rider. He'll take off shortly after Dumoulin at just 1 minute intervals. And then we're going to see Vincenzo Nibali leaving the ramp. Now, Vincenzo Nibali, I talked about him earlier on Beyond the Coverage. Remember, he's won 4 Grand Tours in his life. 2 Giros, 1 Tour de France, and 1 Tour of Spain. So he's won all 3 of the biggest stage races in the world. When he's leaving the ramp, he's looking motivated, nervous, and intense there before he leaves the ramp. He'll come through with a solid time at the end of today's stage, being within about 20 seconds of the stage winner. Now, out on the course is Tom Dumoulin. When he comes through the first time check, he's seconds up on the bike exchange Sobrero's time. Now, he's flying on the pedals. He's solidly putting in a display here at stage 2 of the Giro d'Italia. He'll cross the finish line to take the hot seat away from Sobrero and new race leader here on stage 2. Now, all the commentators are getting excited because Tom Dumoulin, of course, won the Giro d'Italia back a few years ago, and we haven't seen him on good form. When I talked about him on Beyond the Coverage, I say we got to look out for him as a GC favorite here at this year's Giro, but we just don't know how good a form he has as everybody's getting excited, myself included. included, sitting on the couch and the commentators calling the race on GCN. It only takes about 55 seconds to go by, and then Simon Yates blows through with the new fastest time here on stage 2. 5 seconds faster than Tom Dumoulin's time. Now, is this going to be enough to be the new race leader here at Giro d'Italia? Stage 2, can he win the stage, and can he become the general classification leader here at the Giro d'Italia? All is possible still at this point in time with Simon Yates in the hot seat. But remember, Simon Yates left 24th on general classification, so there's still 23 guys to finish behind Simon Yates on today's stage 2. Almeida across the line, 18 seconds behind Simon Yates' time. Now, Almeida is a big GC favorite here. I had him locked in as a podium favorite here at Giro d'Italia. But there's still other favorites left. Matthew van der Poel, who had been warming up earlier in the stage on his trainer with his vest, headphones on, and all pinked out. Pink bike, pink suit here on stage 2. Now up front, across the line is going to be Wilco Kelderman, the Bora Hansgrohe rider. He's going to come through about 20 seconds, just below 20 seconds of Simon Yates' time. Richard Carapaz comes through without setting anything ablaze up front, and I believe he's about 28 seconds off of Simon Yates' time. Now, Matthew van der Poel, like I said, is still out there, and the clock is still running, but he looks solid on the pedals every time the camera goes back to him. Up front, the next across the line, second on the general classification, Beniam Gourmet, and his time is miserable. I believe he's about 45 seconds thereabouts off of Simon Yates' time on today's stage. Now, crossing the finish line to see if he can hold the pink jersey here at Giro d'Italia is going to be Matthew van der Poel when he comes out of the last corner. We know it's going to be close. When he crosses the finish line, he's 3 seconds off of Simon Yates' time. The Bike Exchange rider will win today's stage 1. Matthew van der Poel will keep the pink jersey. And third on the stage will go to Tom Dumoulin, about 5 seconds behind Simon Yates' time. Now, when you're talking about Tom Dumoulin, we got to dissect what's coming up. Is he going to be a general classification favorite or not? Okay, he went up yesterday's final climb, 5.5 kilometers up to the summit finish on yesterday's stage 1. He finished in the group, only losing that 4-second gap up to the favorites up front, so no big deal. We can tell he's climbing good from stage 1. Now you come into the time trial here, you want to get excited for Tom Dumoulin, but can we really get excited? He's a time trial specialist. Now, I believe there's a little bit of hope for all of us fans that want to see Tom Dumoulin up there battling for the general classification here at the Giro. But when time trial specialists go good in time trials, that's not necessarily a sign of how well he'll go in general classification. Because if you look at last year's season, every time there's a time trial, Tom Dumoulin went solid in those time trials. But then, of course, when you're talking about general classification hopes, he hasn't been there on the big Grand Tour stages. So we're going to have to wait a little bit further to know if Tom Dumoulin's riding good. Now, Simon Yates, is he riding good? Absolutely. He's flying. We saw him win 2 stages, booking in Asturias with early stage and a finishing last stage victories there. And now coming here, riding solid in the front group yesterday, and then winning today's individual time trial and blazing on the pedals throughout the course. Now, Richard Carapaz, he's in a little bit of a dilemma because he has Ben Toulet, who's up solid on general classification and ran 5th on today's race, 13 seconds behind the Simon Yates' Bike Exchange rider up front. So Ben Toulet, can he ride general classification? I had to look him up to see what kind of results he's had. Now, he's got some solid results going top 15 at Amstel Gold and Flèche Wallonne, and so you know he's a solid rider if you can go top 15 in those 2 one-day classics. But can he ride GC? When we look further at his resume, he has a 2nd on general classification at Coppa I Bartoli there in Italy, and that was fairly recent. I want to say about a month and a week ago, something like that. So he's riding pretty good, but now we're talking about the Giro d'Italia, and of course he has Carapaz on his team. Now, Richie Porte had a solid time on today's individual time trial too, so Carapaz is actually in the top 20 on the general classification, but he has 2 teammates in front of him. In my mind, when I'm looking at this, after seeing the result of yesterday's 5.5 kilometer finishing climb, Carapaz looked pretty solid. I'm still holding them as my team race leader here for Team Ineos, but clearly they have a couple other cards to play with Richie Porte and Ben Toulet up there on the general classification. Now, Bike Exchange, they won today's stage. They're sitting second on the general classification with Simon Yates just a few seconds off of Mathieu van der Poel, but clearly he's in the top general classification seat here when we start stage 3 of Giro d'Italia. Mathieu van der Poel, being race leader, keeping the pink jersey after today's stage 2, should have everything under control on tomorrow's flat sprint finish stage and should go to Italy wearing the pink race leader's jersey here at the Giro. If Tom Dumoulin doesn't go well, though, here at the Giro d'Italia and isn't climbing with the GC favorites, Jumbo-Visma have Tobias Foss back there in 6th place on today's race. So, Jumbo-Visma have a couple more cards to play when we start getting into the mountains. Going to be a lot of drama for tomorrow's stage 3 when we're talking about the sprinters, but Caleb Ewan in the interview says he doesn't think he was badly affected from yesterday's stage 1 crash at the finish line with 50 meters to go. So hopefully we see a top form Caleb Ewan for tomorrow's race finish, battling it out with Mark Cavendish. I've been waiting a long time to see Mark Cavendish and Caleb Ewan go head-to-head in the sprint finish, so hopefully Caleb Ewan hasn't lost any speed from that stage 1 crash. Tomorrow's stage should be exciting. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next edition of The Butterfly Effect.